The midsummer sun had barely cleared the chimneys of Windsor when a single photograph flickered onto the royal family's social media feeds, an image so quietly striking that seasoned palace correspondents needed a double take. No pomp, no gilded frame, not even the comfortable nostalgia of last year's black and white throwback. Instead, there sat Prince William, blue linen shirt open at the collar, sleeves rolled, a hint of salt and pepper stubble catching the gold of early light. His alone in an open meadow, as if someone paused a countryside ramble, handed him a mug of coffee, and said, "Hold still, Your Royal Highness, let's show them the man you've become." That photograph, released at 9 a.m. sharp on the 21st of June, did more than acknowledge a birthday. It felt like a line drawn in royal sand, a father king formally presenting his firstborn, not as the boy who chased polo balls, or the young officer saluting in scarlet, but as the man who will inherit a realm always half in love with the past and half afraid of the future. Moments later the palace caption landed, spare and direct, wishing the Prince of Wales a very happy 43rd birthday today. 12 words. No exclamation point. Yet implicit in the stark economy of that message was a monumental subtext. This is your next monarch, steady, seasoned, ready. Why does that matter? Because for centuries royal birthdays have worked like scratch-off nostalgia cards, monochromes of toddler princes clutching teddy bears, coronation year flashbacks, cheeky snaps of pony rides with Grandma Lilibet. These images comfort a nation by anchoring its future in a story already told. But King Charles, grappling with his own mortality after cancer treatment and keen to cement a streamlined monarchy, knows Britain now scrolls faster than it reminisces. A single forward-looking portrait can frame a narrative more decisively than an hour-long broadcast. One look at William's contemplative gaze, somewhere between field horizon and heavy responsibility, and the message lands, continuity secured. And continuity hasn't come easy. The last 12 months have tested the Prince of Wales unlike any since that raw September morning in 1997, when he walked behind his mother's coffin. In the last spring alone William has juggled briefings on climate resilience for small island Commonwealth states, late-night check-ins with Princess Catherine, as she endured cycles of preventative chemotherapy, and quiet strategy sessions with doctors plotting King Charles's reduced workload. He's presided over earth-shot planning meetings that stretch past midnight, slipped into airbase memorials at dawn, and still made time to coach Georgia's under-12 football team on wet Saturdays. All beneath the glare of a public hungry for reassurance that the crown's next chapter won't wobble. So when the monarch selects an image of his heir alone, no children clambering over his shoulders, no regimental medals glinting, the endorsement is deliberate. Here is a man who can stand by himself, the portrait seems to say. He doesn't need pageantry at his back to command trust. For Charles, the father long caricatured as a visionary sometimes outpaced by modernity, it's a savvy move, rebrand the monarchy's future as both grounded and forward-thinking, channeled through a prince who wears open-neck linen as confidently as he might don ermine. But pause your scroll, the palace had a second surprise queued up. 4 hours after the king's austere salute, the Wales household fired its own volley, an image so disarmingly playful it set social media purring louder than a royal corgi. There's William again, but this time flat on his back in waist-high meadow grass, laughing helplessly as 6 tumble-pawed golden retriever puppies swarm his chest and lick his face. The caption: Happy birthday, love C.G.C.L. Ola and the pups paw prints. 8 words, 5 initials, Catherine, George, Charlotte, Louis, and family spaniel Orla, plus a paw print emoji. From high monarchic formality to exuberant puppy chaos in half a morning, the two images side by side are nothing less than a masterclass in narrative balance. Look carefully and you'll see how the Wales social media machine slipped a Trojan horse of symbolism inside the cuteness. Those pups. They are from a litter Catherine helped whelp at a service dog training center near Windsor last month, one of her low-profile engagements during recovery. By releasing that shot now, she signals two things. First, that her camera hand is steady and her sense of mischief intact, sources confirm she pressed the shutter herself, and second, that William's heart, even under statesman's weight, remains open to the spontaneous joy his future subjects crave. This dovetail of images, dignified air and dad with dogs, creates a holistic public portrait. The monarch in waiting, who can pivot from Commonwealth trade talks to muddy puppy paws without losing authenticity. And therein lies the genius of the day's communication choreography. Where monarchy once traded on distance, the Waleses are perfecting a new equilibrium, half reach for the crown, half roll up your sleeves. It's a blend that millennials find relatable and boomers find reassuring. A crucial demographic bridge, as the firm eyes the mid-21st century. Yet unpack the subtext further and you'll hear a quieter pulse. Catherine's understated message, just initials and an inside joke emoji, whispers solidarity amid strain. Insiders note she drafted it after her final infusion cycle last week, determined to mark William's day despite fatigue. Friends say the puppy's shoot took 20 minutes. She insisted on lying belly down in damp grass to capture the lowest, most exuberant angle. William's laugh, mid-frame, is apparently genuine. Catherine yelled, "Release the hounds," and the pups cannoned into shot, toppling his composure. That unscripted glee becomes a tonic for a public nervously analyzing each of Catherine's appearances for signs of setback. Of course, not everyone embraces monarchy by Instagram. Traditionalists grumble that birthdays once meant gun salutes and balcony smiles, not curated grids and emojis. But Charles's court, trimmed to the bone after Andrew's scandals and Harry's exit, now wields digital intimacy as effectively as Queen Victoria once wielded mourning attire. A single photograph can travel farther, faster, and embed itself deeper into collective consciousness than the most ornate trooping tableau. Consider how swiftly this new portrait ricocheted. Within 2 hours, #Happy Birthday Prince William trended in 13 countries. Within 4, the image topped 1 million likes across platforms. Media outlets from Tokyo to Toronto republished it, often pairing it with side-by-side shots of William at 8, 12, 18, visual proof of the King's emphasis on growth and readiness. In PR terms, that's a saturation carpet bomb requiring neither press conference nor exclusive interview. Meanwhile, palace staff quietly note a third layer to William's meadow backdrop. The field belongs to Home Park in Windsor, part of a rewilding pilot he launched last year, pesticide-free, planted with native wildflowers, grazed by rare-breed cattle to boost biodiversity. The location choice signals a future sovereign whose environmental credentials aren't confined to podium speeches, but rooted, literally, in regenerative earth. Even his casual shirt flashes a subliminal. It's an Oxford weave by a Cornwall workshop using organic cotton, due diligence courtesy of the Earthshot mindset. The timing, too, is impeccable. The King's birthday portrait last year dropped amid family health uncertainty. This year's release, by contrast, lands as Charles gingerly ups his schedule, hosting state guests and presiding over Garter Day. Aligning his heir's public image with that momentum whisper stability, father recovering, son ascendant, monarchy back at full stride. Yet scroll beneath the surface commentary, and you'll find heartfelt public reactions. Parents of cancer patients thanking William for holding space, while Catherine recuperates. Newly widowed pensioners praising a portrait that shows grief handled with quiet courage. Climate-anxious Gen Z followers reposting the meadow shot with captions about stewardship. When an image resonates across such disparate groups, you know the messaging struck gold. But perhaps the most telling reaction came from an unexpected quarter. Clarence House staff, veterans of decades under Charles's exacting eye, reportedly applauded the King's restraint. One courtier, speaking off record, quipped, "Your Majesty finally joined Instagram and chose 18 words. The old man's wry nod, they say, carries more weight than a 21-gun salute." Where does the story roll from here? Insiders hint at Catherine's next public milestone, a low-key visit to one of the Happy Little Minds pilot nurseries, scheduled for midsummer if health permits. William, meanwhile, is slated to convene an Earthshot Summit roundtable in late July, pushing governments to commit seed funding ahead of COP29. Rumors swirl of a possible joint transatlantic trip in autumn, a project still on hold until Catherine receives an all-clear for long-haul travel. For now, the monarchy's forward momentum relies on short, decisive steps, moments like today's dual-image drop that restore confidence one frame at a time. Which begs a final question to you, our audience. Did the King's stark portrait and Catherine's puppy mayhem hit the sweet spot between formality and familiarity? Or would you prefer the old-school pomp of balcony waves and bugle calls? Scroll down, let us know. And while you ponder, imagine that meadow again, William alone in tranquil dawn, then William swamped by joy and fur. 2 images, 1 future. A blueprint in blue linen and muddy paw prints, reminding Britain that when the crown eventually changes heads, it may rest on shoulders equal parts statesman and smiling dad. If that's a monarchy for the 21st century, perhaps tradition is evolving exactly as it should.